In the previous class, we have finished the account receivable accounting. Now, the next component we have, and the last component we have in the SAP FI, that is the asset accounting. And what do you mean by the asset accounting? So, in this, what we are going to learn in this component, we will, or this component, I would say, we will use to process the business transaction relating to the assets when we are talking about the assets. So, here we will be talking about the fixed assets of the company, fixed assets of the company which we will be using for the long time, and these assets we will not be using for resale purpose. So for example, we have land, building, plant and machinery, furniture, vehicle. So these assets we consider them as a fixed assets, and following are the transaction we will have for these kind of assets, like how we can acquire them, how we can sell, how we can transfer the value of asset, how we can write off our asset, and for these assets we need to calculate the depreciation, and so that we can get their actual position in the or actual value in the balance sheet. Then it is saying that this asset accounting is maintained on the principle of subsidiary ledger. So the way you maintain reconciliation account, then vendor account, reconciliation account, and customer account, you set up in account payable and account receivable accounting. Same way, in the asset accounting, you will be again creating two account. One is a subledger account, and second is a reconciliation account. So subledger account you will be creating for your assets, and what are the transactions you will be doing for those assets, so that will go into the main reconciliation account or respective reconciliation account, so that that subsidiary ledger functionality we will also see in the asset accounting. Then it is saying that the purpose of the asset accounting is to calculate and post the depreciation and find out the value of the asset to be shown in the balance sheet. So here we will see how we can get the depreciation calculated, we can get the depreciation posted every month, so that we can get the actual value of the asset. Because without the depreciation, we will not be able to find out the actual value of the asset, and that is what we need to show in our balance sheet. So this is what we have. Then it is saying that what do you mean by the depreciation? So depreciation value, like value reduction in any of your asset during a normal phase of the life due to the normal wear and tear. So it is a kind of expense we will be debiting to the P&L account, and also we have depreciation, ordinary depreciation, that we can treat it as an expense, and also we have the accumulated depreciation that we can treat as a liability. It is to be put it on the liability side in the balance sheet. So for example, if we have purchased any car for the company, and for this car we need to pay the EMI. So this is the company obligation to pay this EMI, and if we, let's say, we are starting our financial activities from the day one, from the start of the year, and during the year we have 12 months, and for each month we need to pay the loan EMI, we need to pay that installment. So from the company standpoint, so this loan EMI is a obligation, and that obligation we need to maintain on the liability side. So that, for example, purchased a car, and for this car the annual depreciation is, it is, let's say, 10%, and the value of that car is 10,000. Okay, so every month, or the annual depreciation, I would say, or 12,000 is the value of the car, and every month we need to pay 1,000. So uh, if the value is 12,000, so 1,200 is the annual depreciation, and each month we need to pay 100 as a depreciation. But if we just check it from the from our obligation standpoint, so annual depreciation which we need to pay, so that is going to be 100 or 1,200, and this 1,200 we can put it on the liability side. So for example, the first month has gone, so that accumulated depreciation will come down by 100 rupees. So the next month it is going to be 1,100. Then next month it is going to be it is going to be 1000, then it is going to be 900. So that is how it will come down every month, and that is how we use this accumulated depreciation. Then it is saying that what do you mean by the asset classes? So how you want to classify your asset as per or based on your client requirement, based on the management requirement. So that is what we call it as asset classes. And asset classes a default value we have for the master record and depreciation calculation on the asset created under the respective class. What does it mean? It means that whenever you are creating any asset class, in that we will have two parts. One is the asset master data record, and second is the depreciation calculation. In the asset master record, you will have the name of the asset, description of the asset, then you will also link the GL to which this value of this asset to be recorded. Then you will also have the information to which cost center, to which profit center, to which department, location that asset is allocated. So this information we will be maintaining in the master record, asset master record. Any information related to the calculation of depreciation, that we will put it in a depreciation calculation segment. So for any of your asset class, you will have these two segments. So here we have mentioned some of the asset classes as example. So we have land, building, plant and machinery. So these assets we can maintain as a asset classes. And for these asset classes, what we need to do, we need to maintain the number range. You can just see here, we have the number ranges 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06. So these are the number ranges for these asset classes. What do you mean by number ranges? So example, you want to create multiple land records, you want to create multiple building record. So in order to create those records, you need to provide the numbering. So here I just mentioned some of the reference number or sample number ranges. So for example, the interval we have maintained for the land, it is going to be 1 to 100,000. Then if I will be creating the building master record, I will be giving the number in 100,000 1 to 200,000. For plant, 200,000 1 to 300,000, and so on and so forth. So here it is saying that let's assume that we need to create the asset master record, and for that we need to consider the asset class as plant. So I need to create a plant asset master record. For this, first of all, we will be considering the asset class as plant and machinery, and for that plant and machinery, what number range we have. So 03 number ranges has 03 number range we have assigned, and asset interval we have, it is starting from 200,000 to 300,000. So if I will try to create the first asset master record under the asset class plant and machinery system, going to give me asset number, it is 200,001. Okay. Now these assets we can maintain in the asset accounting as main asset master record or sub asset master record. So what do you mean by the main asset master record? So for example, the plant and machinery we set up as a main asset master record, and below that we have some generator toolkit. So these we can create as a sub asset master record. So we can another example also. Let's say we are creating a building. Building can be created as a main asset master record, whereas for this building, if we have 4 or 5 lifts, so those lifts we can maintain, those accelerator we can maintain as a sub asset master record. And how system is going to give you the asset number if you create the main and sub asset master record. So here for example, if you are creating the main asset master record, it will always ending with the 0, and if you are creating the sub asset master record, it will be ending with 1 2 or 3 4. So these are the number we'll have, and it will have a prefix of your main asset master record. So it will start with the main asset master record number, and after that we'll have a sub number. So it will go up to 9999 number. Then it is saying that we have the rule for the asset master record. What are the rules? So we have two types of master record. One is the main asset master record, and second is the sub asset master record. So this main asset master record will be creating with reference to the asset class, Whereas the sub-asset master record creation we will be doing with reference to the main asset master record. So at the top level, you will have the asset class. Below that, you will have the main asset master record. And after that, you will have your sub-asset master record. So the data sub-asset master record, it is taking from main, and main asset master record data system is taking from where? From the asset class. Then it is saying that what do you mean by depreciation area? So we are maintaining our fixed assets, and these fixed assets are to be maintained sometime under a some particular accounting standard. We need to maintain their valuation. So these valuation we can maintain as per US GAAP, as per IFRS, as per statutory audit, as per some other requirement. So these are the different valuation we need to maintain for the same asset, and for different valuation we can maintain different depreciation areas. So here it is saying that this depreciation area is showing a different valuation of your fixed asset as per your client requirement. It may be fulfilling the balance sheet requirement, it may be fulfilling some accounting requirement, and all these depreciation areas or valuation we can maintain under the chart of depreciation. And this chart of depreciation you can assign to more than one company code. So it is saying that a list of depreciation we can have. What do you mean the chart of depreciation? Chart of depreciation will have a list of your depreciation areas, and it is saying that this chart of depreciation is different from your chart of account, and it is saying that this chart of depreciation uh, and it can also be assigned to multiple company code. And also here it is saying that the last point, the chart of account, chart of depreciation is always to be copied from the reference chart of depreciation defaultly delivered by the with the software. So here we will not be creating like a new chart of depreciation. So we will not be creating the chart of depreciation from the scratch. So SAP has provided us, based on the country or based on the region, SAP has provided us a list of chart of depreciation. We can take the reference of that particular chart of depreciation. We can make the changes as per our client requirement and we can use them. Then it is saying that what are the depreciation types we have. So we have the ordinary depreciation, under which a fixed value is going to be depreciated every month, and this can be the written down value or a straight line method, or we have the under the straight line a fixed amount to be deducted every month as a depreciation, whereas under the written down value method, so for example if we have a car and the value of that depreciation, the under the written down value method, so the value of that car is, in this actually the purchase value is going to be different. In the straight line method, for example, we have the value of car as 12,000 on 10 at a rate of 10%. We are charging the depreciation, annual depreciation is going to be 1200. So every month 100 we are charging. So that is a straight line depreciation. Under the written down value method, what will happen? So whatever the depreciation you have charged, so that will get reduced from your principal, from your purchase value, and on the reduced value, on that net value, depreciation will be charged. So let's say if the value is 1000, and on that 1000 we calculated first month depreciation as 100, so the next month it is going to be, my base value is going to be 900, on that 90 is going to be the depreciation. Or in our example we'll see both the types of depreciation, ordinary straight line method and written down value method, so we'll see both the calculation. Then it is saying that the special depreciation, so over and above the ordinary depreciation, whatever the depreciation we charge, so that is we can call it as a special depreciation. Then it is saying that unplanned depreciation, for which we have not made any planning. So here this unplanned depreciation we need to always like most of the time we need to post it manually. So here it is saying that this has happened due to the reduction of your value of your asset due to some event whose effect is permanent. So for example, we have a asset, and the value of that asset we have at the start of the year 100,000, and in April fire occurred. After that we did the revaluation, so it is 60,000, remaining 40,000 we can consider as a unplanned depreciation which we can post manually. So how you are going to link your GL with the assets? So with the help of account determination object, we are going to link the asset with the GL. So what this account determination will do, so it will classify the asset under which the depreciation amount is going to be, or the accounting entry is going to be posted. So it will classify the asset, and also it will provide the GL required for any kind of asset transaction. So it may be at the time of acquisition of your asset, at the time of sale of the asset, scrapping of asset, and if you want to transfer the value of one asset to another asset, and if you are also posting the depreciation, so system will classify the asset class, identify the asset class, and also it will find out the relevant GL, because that GL we maintain under the account determination object. Then screen layout is nothing but the field status. So for your asset master record, we have been given the field. So how you are going to manage those fields as suppress, record, or optional, so that we can control under the screen layout. And the screen layout we control at which level? At a asset class level. So for each of your asset class, you can have a different screen layout rule. So here it is saying that we have the multi-level method. Under the multi-level method, what we can have, we can use different combination of method and rate for the different for the calculation of depreciation during the different phase of the expected useful life of the asset. For example, here we have a asset, and the value of that asset is 100,000. So this asset will be having for next 10 years, and from this year, it is saying that the value, if we have 100,000, so we need to calculate the depreciation. So we, as per the client requirement, so they want to get the depreciation calculated for the first 3 years with the straight line method, and rate of depreciation is 5%, and the next 4 years they want to get the depreciation calculated under a different method, written down value method, with the same percentage of depreciation, and the remaining 3 years they want to get the depreciation calculated again with the straight line method but with the different rate. So this kind of requirement can be fulfilled under the multi-level method. Period control method, so we'll be acquiring the asset on the different dates in the different month. So from which date system should calculate the depreciation? For example, in a company we capitalize, we buy the asset on 1st, 15th, or 18th, or 12th, or 20th. So from which month system should uh, calculate the capitalized value, and it will calculate the depreciation. So from the period control, system will calculate the depreciation. So we have been given various period control option, and we can use those period control options. So based on that, system is going to calculate the time frame for which the depreciation is to be calculated. So it will determine the time frame. So for example, the depreciation is to be calculated from next month, from next quarter, from whatever the assets we buy, we have purchased this month. So these are to be, the depreciation is going to be calculated from first of this month or mid of this month on a pro rata basis. So for this, we have been given the period control option, so we can use them. Depreciation calculation we maintain under the depreciation key, and this depreciation key we assign to the asset master record, and this key should be activated. This should be assigned to your asset master record. Without this, no depreciation will be calculated, and this is what we need to make. We need to ensure that the depreciation key has been assigned to the asset master record. And under this depreciation key, what information we provide, we assign the period control method or multi-level method, phase of the depreciation, class of the depreciation. So this information we provide under the depreciation key. And it is saying that if you are going to retire your asset, you want to sell your asset. So here we have a scenario. Let's say the value of that asset is 500,000, and what is the current value of that asset? So the current value of the asset is 460,000. So this 40,000 we have a depreciation, and at which value we are selling that asset. So we are selling that asset with value 450,000, 10,000. We are getting a loss on that sale of asset. So it is saying that if you will be doing the sale of asset as per the normal normal method in the accounting. So this is the accounting entry we have. So we'll be getting the money from the payment from the customer, 450,000. We will debit the customer or bank. We'll debit the depreciation with 40,000, loss 10,000, and asset will be retiring with the value at which we have acquired it, 500,000. But it is saying that in the asset accounting, the transaction will be different. So here, first of all, we will pass this transaction manually. So whatever the amount we have received from the customer, and we will be crediting the clearing account, and this clearing account we will be using as a sale of asset account. So what it will do, it will drive the value of the actual value of that asset, and if we are getting the loss or gain, so how that loss gain will be calculated. So it will just check the actual value we are getting from the customer, it is more or less than the actual value. Based on that, it will drive the loss or gain. So these line item, accumulated sale of asset, loss on or profit on sale of asset, and to asset account credit. So these line item system will drive automatically. Okay, but what we need to do, we need to enter these. So if we just see here the sale of asset and the sale of asset, this sale of asset will be manually credited and this automatically system will debit. If I just highlight it, this automatically system will debit. So after that we'll have all those entry we have in the normal like accounting. Okay, so we have again those bank accumulated loss or profit and asset. So here this sale of asset account, this we can use as a clearing account, which we will first credit and then debit, because this clearing account will help us to get the depreciation calculated, to get the actual value of that asset calculated, and we are getting loss gain. So this calculation will be able to get it through this with the help of this sale of asset clearing account. And if you want to transfer the value of one asset to another asset, so that can be done. So your new asset will be debited, old asset value will be credited, and accumulated depreciation value on the old will be debited and new will be credited. So here it is saying that normal accounting entry will have, and the same treatment we have in the SAP. Then if you want to write off your asset, you want to put it any asset on loss. So after calculating the value of the depreciation, whatever the value we have for that asset, we can put it into the loss. And this is the accounting entry we can have in the system. So we have the depreciation, then the remaining loss we have 98,000. We can put it into the loss due to the scrapping, and asset will go with the full value 100,000. So this is the high level understanding about the asset accounting. Now we'll start doing the configuration. In this asset accounting configuration, first of all, we'll be maintaining the chart of depreciation. Under that, we are going to maintain the depreciation area. Then after that, we will be assigning the tax code for the purchase and sale. So we'll maintain a default tax code, even if it is, uh, if we don't want to get calculate any kind of tax on that. So by default, system should consider the 0% tax. And then we'll be assigning the chart of depreciation to the company code. And once we have set up this chart of depreciation, we can have that, we can create the account determination object, we can maintain the screen layout, number range. Then after that, we can create the GLs. So those GLs we can assign. Actually, after that, we'll be creating the asset classes, and below the asset classes, we can create the asset master record, and those asset classes we will be linking with the GL. Okay. Then we will also work on the depreciation calculation side. So we'll be maintaining the depreciation key, depreciation method, and after that we will be activating the depreciation area for at every class level. Without this activation of depreciation area at a class level, we will not be able to create the asset master record. Then to create the asset master record, and after the creation of the asset master record, we'll buy that asset, we'll add the value to the asset, we can see it in the asset explorer. Then we will also see how the monthly depreciation calculation is to be done, so how monthly depreciation transition to be posted. So after that, we'll see the scenario of sale of the asset. So how we can make a sale of asset, how we can transfer the value of asset, how we can do the scrapping. So these are the things we are going to do in the practice. So we'll start with the step number one, where we need to copy the reference chart of depreciation from the standard one provided by the SAP. So we'll go into the system, and here, because it is a part of development, we need to go to the SPRO. Then click on the reference IMG button. Then we can click on the financial accounting new, asset accounting, and then we can see here we have the organizational structure. Go to the organizational structure. Here we can just see we have the option copy reference chart of depreciation slash depreciation area. Click on this, and we can start with the copy reference chart of depreciation option. Double click on this first option. In this system, we'll just give you a template. From the template, you can copy your reference chart of depreciation, and after that you can make the changes to your chart of depreciation. So click on the copy button. Here we can press F4 key. System is asking for the reference chart of depreciation, so we can see the list we have in the system. You can just see for each of the country, SAP has given us a sample chart of depreciation. For example, if I need to work for country Argentina, Austria or Australia, so I can go to the reference or sample chart of depreciation provided by the SAP. So I can copy the data, and in that I can make the changes as per our client requirement. So here we are working for US country, so we can just check the sample chart of our depreciation for the country US, and we can use it. So here we have all country chart of depreciation, and the number convention you can just see we are using 1, and after that we have the country code. Okay, so that is the ID, standard ID we have for the chart of depreciation given by the SAP. So we have 1, after that we have the country code. So for the sample chart of depreciation for US, we can check it with 1 US. So this is a 1 US sample chart of depreciation provided by the SAP, and whatever the data we have here, we want to get extended to that and the data to our chart of depreciation, and for that we need to give the ID. Length of this ID is up to the 4-character code alphanumeric. So let's have here the ID as 2244. That is the company code we are working on. So we want to give the ID of the chart of depreciation same as the company code ID, and then press enter button. It can be different also, but let it be same. And after that we need to press enter button on this message. So what it will do, it will copy all those all that table or data we have under the sample chart of depreciation, and it will maintain in your chart of depreciation, and that new chart of depreciation we can use for our company code, and in that we can make the changes. So here we can press enter button. Again press enter button. It is saying that the data system has copied from your 1 US chart of depreciation to 2244 chart of depreciation. Okay, press enter button, and then we can just go back. Now we need to go to the next step, specify the description of the chart of depreciation. Here if you just see, we have here, we need to change the description, and for that we need to double click on this, and then we need to find out, click on position button, find out our chart of depreciation ID 2244. Here if you want to change the text, so we can change it. So let's have here chart of depreciation for 2244. Press enter button, save it. Now we can come out of here, we can go to the last one. So you can just see copy slash delete depreciation area. So in the theory, we have understood that chart of depreciation is what? A list of depreciation areas, and depreciation area is what? Valuation. So for same set of asset, you can have a different valuation for your different accounting standard. It may be for IFRS, US GAAP, or for some other statutory reporting. So system is asking for the chart of depreciation. We have 2244. Press enter button. You can just see here we have the depreciation areas, and this we can use for the different valuation. So here, if you don't require for multiple valuation, you want it for only single type of valuation. So you can go to you can refer this one, that is a book depreciation, and we can use it. And other we can remove it. So how we can remove which we don't require? So for that, you can just see here, if you are maintaining the data for your asset in local currency in your group currency. So to maintain the value for your asset in group currency, then you have to take a another depreciation area. Okay, and this you can use for your local currency. This is actually this depreciation area will be using for the currency translation. So whatever the value we have for our asset which we want to maintain in the local currency, and we also want to maintain in the group currency. And if you want to do some other kind of calculation of your asset, you want to have a different method of depreciation, you want to have a different rate. So for that, we can use a different depreciation area. So if we don't require other valuation, you want single valuation. So for that, we can remove the other depreciation areas which we don't require. So we can just go to the menu, in the menu edit, and we can select all, and we can deselect the first one we will be using it, and then we can remove the other one. Click on the delete button and then click on the save option. Now under your depreciation area, just ignore the warning message, click on the yes option. Under your depreciation area, so what are the settings SAP has provided? So system will just show you. If you want to make the changes in that, so accordingly we can make the changes. So here it is saying that these many depreciation areas got deleted. Press enter button and again press enter button. Now you can just see for a single depreciation area, for a single valuation, it is saying that the depreciation will be calculated in the real time to your GL, and here you can just see the value maintenance for your asset at the time of acquisition, net book value, any kind of investment, revaluation, ordinary depreciation. So if it is going to be negative, positive, zero, so how that value maintenance should be done. So we'll not be making any changes. We'll be using a standard provided by the SAP, and then we can just go back. So we have here the single valuation, single depreciation area under our chart of depreciation, and this we are going to link to our company code. But before that, what we need to do, we need to assign the company code to the text code, and the text code can be 0% text code. So this is for what? This is for those transactions which don't require any kind of text. Okay, so for those transactions we want to assign the zero value text code, because without this it will just show you the error message that the data is inconsistent, or you will not be able to assign it. If you want to check it, so what do, you just click on this assign chart of depreciation to the company code button option, click on this, you click on position button, find out your company code ID. So our company code ID is 2244, and you need to assign here your chart of depreciation ID 2244. Press enter button and save it. Now you can just see you will get this kind of message. Company code entries for the company for 2244 are incomplete. Okay, so why it is incomplete? Because that step we have not performed, step number 2, and in order to perform that step 2, it is saying that what we need to do. So here we need to run transaction code FTXP. So let's have here the transaction code FTXP. Enter. Whenever we are maintaining any kind of text setting, so these are maintained at which level? At a country level, because for a specific country we maintain the text setting. So here we will have it for US. So country will have here the US, and then we need to maintain the text code. So for the 0% text code, we have input and output. Input we use for the purchase, output we use for the sale of the asset. So here we'll have input V0, and it will have for those assets which don't require any tax. So we'll use this V0, which will have the 0% tax. Same way for the sale of the asset, and those assets which don't attract any tax, so we'll have the 0% output tax. So these two text code we can assign now to the company code, and for this assignment we'll be using the next step, step 3. Transaction code is OBCL. Here we have the step 3, transaction code is OBCL. So let's use the transaction code OBCL. Enter. Click on position button. Company code ID is 2244, and we need to assign the input output text code. Input is B0, output is A0, and then we can save. Click on the save option. Now again you go back and assign your chart of depreciation to the company code. So again we can go to the assign option. Actually here screen is already open. Let's come out of the screen. Now we can go to the assign chart of depreciation to the company code. Click on position, company code ID, chart of depreciation ID, press enter button, save. So now we can just see system is allowing us to do the assignment. So we have assigned now chart of depreciation to the company code. Now for this company code, what you can do now, you can create the objects relevant for the depreciation like account determination, screen layout, and number ranges. And for that we have step 5. It is saying that create the account determination. So we have understood that what is the account determination. It will help us to assign the GL. It will help us to classify the asset or identify the asset, and it will also recognize the GL to be used for purchase, sale, or any kind of asset transaction. So here we need to create this account determination, and after that we will be able to assign the GL under that account determination. So first we need to create the account determination, and it is maintained at which level? This account determination object we maintain at a company code level. We maintain this account determination object at a class level. So for example, if we are using 10 asset classes, so for each of the asset class we can maintain the separate account determination. So here we will be having these sample asset classes, and for each of we can create the account determination. For this we need to go back, and you can just go to the asset classes. You can just see you have the asset classes, because without account determination, screen layout, and numbering, you can't create your asset classes. So before you create your asset classes, you need to set up these object at a class level, and then you will be able to create your asset classes. So you need to go to the asset classes. Here you have the option account determination, specify account determination. Click on this, and here we can click on the new entry button. We can create new asset, new account determination IDs, and these account determination ID we can maintain. Let's say it is 44001, and or let's say it is 224401. So this is for what? Account determination for land 224402, account determination for our next asset class ID building 224403. It is for the plant. Then next is for the account determination we have for the furniture, and last we have for the vehicle. So these are the account determinations we'll be using for our asset classes, and then press enter button, save it, and now again press enter button. So what next we need to do after creating these account determination? So it is saying that we need to maintain the layout, screen layout. So for the screen layout you need to go back. Here you can just see you have the option create screen layout, and once again the screen layout SAP has already given us, so we can use those screen layout. We can copy, we can like make the changes as per our requirement, and we can use them. So here this 1000, this 2000, 3000, or 1100, 2100, 3100. So all these are standard. So we can take the reference from the standard and we can create our own. So for example, here we have real estate, we have building, we have general machines, we have just go down special machines, then we have this furniture fixture. So these numbers are given as standard, so we can copy. We can first select them, then click on the copy as option. ID we need to provide for the screen layout. These can be maintained up to the 4 character, and we need to maintain it for each of our asset classes. So since we are using 5 asset classes, I have just put it here 5 screen layout. So the ID will have for the first screen layout it is 4401, and this is what. So here we have the screen layout for land. Then we have the next we have for the next asset class which is building. Then 03 we have for the asset class plant. Then we have for vehicle for furniture, and last we have for vehicle. Press enter button, save it, and then enter. Now for our asset classes, we created first account determination, second screen layout. Now third thing we will be maintaining, that is the numbering. Now based on the numbering, system is able to give you the asset numbers. Okay. So here we will be maintaining this number range at a class level. So you click on this option called define number range interval option, and here we will have the company code ID 2244. Go to the change interval and click on the add interval. Here we'll have the first interval 01, and our assets for our first asset class land, it should start from 01 to 200. So this number range you can give it as per client requirement. So for the testing purpose we are using from 101 to 200 for first asset class. Then second asset class numbering we will be maintaining from 201 to 300. Then the next is going to be 301 to 400. Then fourth asset class ID will have the numbering from 401 to 500. And then we have fifth asset class ID numbering will be starting from 501 to 600. Now we can save it. Click on the save option, and we can now start creating the asset classes. In order to create the asset classes, here we have done the step number 7. So step number 8, it is saying that create the asset classes. We have the transaction code OA to create this asset classes, and you can also create the asset classes through the path. So you can just go back and you can just see here you have the option to define the asset classes. Click on this, and we can click on the new entry button. So we have been given some reference asset classes already in the system. If you want to see detail, you can go and double click on any of the asset class and check the detail how these are maintained, and based on that you can create your new asset classes. So click on the new entry button and give the asset class ID. So in most of the time we maintain the account asset class ID and account determination ID same. In most of the project we maintain the number ID for this asset class and account determination same. So here I'm going to give the asset class ID, it is same as my account determination ID, it is 224401. So this is what asset, we have the asset class, or I would say land for 2244 land, short name is land, and account determination ID, remember we created 2244 only. Okay, now starting with 2244. Now which one you want to assign? Just a minute. 22440101. So here we want to assign the account determination relevant for the land, which is 01. Okay. Then screen layout, we have 4401. We can assign here 4401 for the land. Numbering, we have maintain 01, and then we can press enter button. Here we can go to the next asset class. This is the information we have maintained for our first asset class. Okay, likewise we can create the other asset classes also. So give the ID 224402. So this is what, this is the building we have 2244. Short name is building, double two double four, and then account determination ID 02, layout ID 4402, number range ID 02, and include asset. Press enter button. Go back. Now the next asset class ID 224403. We have land, building, plant and machinery for 2244. Short name plant for 2244. Account determination ID 224403. Layout ID 4403. Number range ID 03. Include asset. And we can go to the next asset class ID 224404. This is what? This is for the furniture for 2244. Furniture is a short name. Double two double four. Account determination ID 4 224404. Layout ID 4404, and number range ID 04. Include asset. Then the next asset class ID we have 224405, and we have after the furniture we have vehicle for 2244. Short name vehicle, and account determination ID 224405. Layout ID 4405. Number range ID 05. Include asset. So this is how we have created 5 asset classes, and these 5 asset classes we can use for a testing purpose. Okay. Now it is saying that under these 5 asset classes we can also create the assets, but before we create the assets we need to work on the GL side. We need to set up the GL for each of our asset class, and we need to link the GL with the asset classes, and after that we can create the depreciation setting. So this is what we have for today's class.